You know, graphic design is my passion. I just love making graphics, and designing them is pretty cool too. You know what else I love? Pancakes. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at making them. But it's okay, because I found a workaround. I found a way to combine both of my loves. Instead of making pancakes, I'll make a graphic design for a sign for a pancake restaurant! So let's just open up Photoshop, we'll do a little of this, and a little of that, and a little of this! And voila! We got a perfect, prestigious presentation of a pancake pair of
So video games are cool because you can play them, but you know why else they're cool?
I mean, I've just been sitting here looking at the box and I've gotten hours of enjoyment.
When you spot a new video game on the shelf or even online, what's the first thing you see? Well, you'll probably see a picture with colors and shapes, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, what the hell is this? Ah! Your eyes are gonna jump straight to the logo to see what the title of the game is, which means it needs to grab your attention and be appealing so you actually, wanna buy the game. Now obviously the box art, that picture with colors and shapes I mentioned, is also incredibly important. Its job is to give you an idea of what the game you're going to play is going to be about. It provides a little bit of context so you know what you're getting into. It's not like you could just smack a logo on a white background and call it a day.
Okay, I was trying to make a point, but fine, let's take a look at some video game logos.
Now your initial reaction may be, logos, are you f***ing serious? Those don't matter. Just play the game and stop caring about pointless trash. And yeah, the actual game is more important when talking about a game, but that shouldn't overshadow everything else that goes into one. If you didn't have all this quote-unquote pointless trash, would you buy a game? Think of it like this. Which of these looks more appealing? This or this?
Bad example, but!
Saying it doesn't matter essentially says you're okay with everything coming in blank packaging, which, in the grand scheme of things, is fine, but it takes away any personality a thing might have.
And logos are a cool way of showing off that personality. Using just some letters and some colors, you can show off exactly what your thing is about.
So let's throw a bunch of video game logos at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, that works. So Super Mario Bros. Logo is kinda perfect for the game. The modern style of Mario logos features this blocky and colorful text that just perfectly fits with Mario's wonderful and wacky gameplay. And the different logos showcase what makes the different games unique, like the galaxy background and the galaxy text of Galaxy, and the globe replacing the O when having Cappy swing around in Odyssey. Of course, the original Super Mario Bros. Doesn't really have all that, so this logo works. The different shades of brown and the tall rectangular font just makes you think brick blocks, and yeah, that's pretty much exactly what Super Mario Bros. Is about. But then we have the new Super Mario Bros. Games, and they're just the same thing but worse. This little new sticker is just so out of place and annoying, and I don't know, the whole thing just lacks personality. I think it's the black and white, like, this doesn't feel like Mario. Here, let me try something. Okay, it's not perfect, but adding color at least makes it look a little more like a Mario game. It adds a little personality to these logos. And speaking of Mario games that don't look like Mario games, these look like they belong to a different franchise. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad, but they're not Mario.
Oh, wait. Do you smell that? It smells like plagiarism.
Well, that fits a lot more. See, these two logos have a very retro 90s aesthetic with the curved and slimmer font, and that doesn't really work for Mario. Now Sonic, on the other hand, retro's 90s aesthetic is his favorite pastime. And in general, the good majority of Sonic logos are actually really fucking good. They all just fit their game so perfectly. Like, Sonic Colors is one of my favorite Sonic logos. It's just so bright, reflecting the return of the more out-there zone design from the classic games. And the different textures inside each of the letters and colors corresponding to a different wisp power is a really nice touch. Mania and Generations are a similar case, where the random shapes and brighter colors show the return of classic Sonic, and Mania in particular reminds me of the Japanese box art for Sonic 1, 2, and 3. Of course, not all Sonic logos are winners. Forces is just kinda... which I guess is fitting, since the actual game is like that too. That Sonic Adventure just has so much going on, and I don't like any of it. Why did you put this rocky texture here? It looks so bad. Here, let me fix it for you. Oh my god, it looks so much better. It looks so good, in fact, that a couple years ago when Sega released a couple remixes of old songs just for the hell of it, they actually used a logo very similar to this, with the actual text just being transparent.
But if you want an example of a franchise where every logo is perfect, look no further than Pac-Man.
The original logo for Pac-Man is literal perfection. Replacing the C with Pac-Man himself was such a genius move, and probably further established Pac-Man's recognizability. And this simplified geometric font is just so perfect for Pac-Man that it's been constant for literally every single Pac-Man game going forward. The Pac-Man World games, the Championship Edition games, Pac-Man Fever, even Pac-Man 2 uses this font. This is the Pac-Man font. There's literally no need to ever change it.
Moving on!
You know, the Metroid logo has remained pretty much unchanged for the franchise's existence. Like, Metroid 2 introduced the font that would be used for pretty much every game going forward. The only exceptions are Metroid Fusion, which makes sense because Samus gets a more organic suit in this game, so the logo reflects that. But then there's also this game that I'm pretty sure everybody collectively decided doesn't exist. However, one thing that has remained constant is that every single Metroid game has a tilt on the Metroid text. That is until the trend was killed by Samus Returns on the 3DS, and we see that continue with Metroid Dread on the Switch. I think this is a good change. The text being straight up gives the logos a more modern feel, while still using the same font from the 90s.
And, fun fact, Metroid is a franchise whose gameplay is so unique compared to any other game that had got an entire genre named after it, that being Metroidvania. But there is another half to that name, so let's take a look at that.
The Castlevania series has had this logo from its inception in 1986 all the way up to Castlevania Circle of the Moon in 2001. And you know what? This works. It's retro, but it still has a gothic vibe. Then they changed it to this for 2 entries before swapping to this one, and this works a lot more for me. First of all, the C is in a crescent shape representing the moon, and second of all, switching to an actual gothic font makes a lot more sense. Overall, this logo definitely fits the mood of a Castlevania game more.
I say, having never played a Castlevania game before.
Speaking of franchises I've never played before, Persona. Yeah, I don't know, I just really like Persona 5's logo. It's so stylized and it really pops, which the only thing I know about Persona 5 is that it's got a really flashy art style. But like, I couldn't even begin to talk about why the other logos are the way that they are. Why is Persona 3's logo got this pixelated thing going on?
I don't know, the developers got lazy?
But an RPG series I do know a lot about is Final Fantasy. One thing I really like about sequels is seeing how the logos build off the original, and Final Fantasy is a great place to see an example of that done right. Each logo uses the same font followed by a Roman numeral, which I will say using a Roman numeral to number your titles feels a lot more grandiose than using normal numbers. But the real star of the show here are these beautiful pieces of art to go with each logo. They're all done by Yoshitaka Amano, and they're all just so interesting to look at. They all vary in size and shape, but they all relate to a certain aspect of their respective games, and they're just really cool. On a similar note, the Dragon Quest logos use the same Dragon Quest font with a Roman numeral sitting under it, unless your name is Dragon Quest 2 or 3. But these logos also feature art behind them, unless your name is Dragon Quest 6, which I don't think have as much of a tie to the games themselves. I don't know, I don't have as much of a connection to the Dragon Quest series. But then there's the recently revealed Dragon Quest 12. Oh my god. Both the Final Fantasy logos and the Dragon Quest logos are really interesting to compare to each other, and they're some of my favorite examples of sequels building off previous games' logos.
So let's talk about Kirby now.
The Kirby logo started off like this, tall, rounded, uppercase letters, and I mean, it's fine, it does work for Kirby, but holy f***, the modern logos are so much better. Switching to lowercase letters just fits Kirby so much more. I mean, look at this little guy. What about it makes you want to spell his name with all uppercase? His unbelievable strength, his insatiable appetite, and ability to fight literal gods every Tuesday like it's nothing, all while being completely unfazed? You know, now that I think of it, we don't really see lowercase letters in logos all that much. Probably because the all uppercase logos feel like they take themselves much more seriously. But lowercase letters can also be taken seriously and can even invoke a more serious feeling. Nier Automata uses lowercase letters and that game is depressing as all hell, and the Xenoblade games also use lowercase letters and those have some pretty powerful moments. To me, lowercase letters say that this game is going to leave you emotionally scarred in some places. Or it's going to be ridiculously carefree and barely take itself seriously. All three of the Luigi's Mansion games do a really good job at selling the vibe of the games. They can be creepy, yeah, but they're also set in the Mario universe, so you don't really have anything to actually be scared of. I will say though that putting eyes on every single letter is a bit overkill. Here, let me show you what I mean. See, it's just a little less, I don't know, crowded with some of the eyes gone.
Regardless, the Luigi's Mansion logos fit the tone of the series. It's horror, but it's cartoony horror for kids. So, what about real horror?
Remember when I said that I like the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest logos for being similar to each other, but still being distinct so it looks like they're part of the same series? Well, the Resident Evil logos are the perfect example of the opposite of that. These don't even look like they're part of the same series. They're completely separate from each other. They all use different fonts and colors and layouts, which is weird, because while the games mostly stand on their own, there are some story elements that connect all the games together. Also, some of these are just bad. Hey, Resident Evil 3. What the fuck? And Resident Evil 6 looks like a giraffe. Then we get to Resident Evil 7 and 8's logos. These are adorable. Incorporating the Roman numerals into the words is such a genius play and it looks so cool, I gotta try this! Without further ado, here's my rough concept for the Resident Evil 9 logo. I don't have a lot to say about them, but the Street Fighter logos are really cool using this graffiti looking text. And then there's the 80 different versions of Street Fighter 2, which are all exactly the same, it just depends on what giant word you like behind Street Fighter 2. The Mortal Kombat games are pretty interesting, mainly because once they got to Mortal Kombat 5, they stopped numbering the entries and just used subtitles. And then with Mortal Kombat 9, they just stopped adding anything. And then they went back to numbers with 10 and 11. Also, it's weird, because they flip-flop between Roman numerals and basic numbers with every entry. Like, Mortal Kombat 2 and 10 use Roman numerals, and 5 has Roman numeral incorporated into the full design, and then 3, 4, and 11 use basic numbers. It's weird. Although I will say that Mortal Kombat 11's use of normal numbers is cool because you can shorten the logo down to this. This is adorable. And hey, while we're on the topic of fighting games, the Super Smash Bros. Logos are all kind of phenomenal. Smash 64, it doesn't really fit the vibe of what future Smash games go for, but for Smash 64, this works insanely well. Medley's logo just feels intense though, like it knows exactly how much of a step up it is from 64. Brawl's logo has a Nike swish, and I've always really liked how the flames on Smash for Wii U and 3DS are color-coded to the logos of their respective consoles. And then there's Ultimate, which feels like it's saying it knows it's the culmination of the series up to this point. No colors, no fancy little extra stuff to spruce it up, it's very clean. Also, the subdued crosshair is just so good.
I've gone this whole time without mentioning Celeste.
Much like the game itself, Celeste's logo is perfect. The big bold letters covered in snow give off a sense of intensity and show that the trek up the mountain is going to be dangerous. But the purples and blues are calming, showing the importance of keeping a level head in the face of adversity. Speaking of indies, Hollow Knight's logo is fantastic. It's regal, reflecting how Hollow Knight used to be a great kingdom. But as you play through the game, you find that greatness isn't there anymore, which just leaves the logo feeling more solemn and empty, which is perfect for the mood of Hollow Knight. I'm gonna be honest, I really like the Revels of Aether logo. The 4 elements in each corner, which just so happens to be where the characters with that element are on the character roster. Okay, so I love Cuphead's art style, who doesn't? And obviously that style extends to the logo. That's it, that's all I have to say about that. Minecraft's got this stone texture, which represents the ungodly amount of time you spend underground, and of course you've got the creeper face in the A, which is the most iconic enemy in the game. And getting a little off topic here, how the hell is Guitar Hero's logo so good? Like, this looks like a metal band logo, and that's so perfect. And then when they rebooted the series with Guitar Hero Live, they made it this and...
Alright, yeah, we gotta talk about the problem with logos nowadays.
Okay, so logos now are super boring and they all look the same. Blocky, capital letters, and more often than not, accompanied by some gritty texture over them. It's just annoying and it loses a lot of personality a logo could have. Like, here's an example everybody likes to point to. Doom! The original Doom logo has flair, it's got pizzazz, it tells a story. And then for the reboot, they just took this and made it a single color. I don't really mind it that much, but there's nothing wrong with the original logo. There was no need to change it and make it more basic. And there are so many more logos that looks like this, where the logo is just word.
Actually, let's take a look at some more logos I don't like for one reason or another.
I don't like ARMS' logo. First of all, real quick, this bothers me so much. The A isn't angled with the rest of the letters, and it's so damn frustrating. Let me just... There we go. Outside of that, I just don't think it fits ARMS all that well. It just looks like a generic sportscasting logo along the lines of ESPN or something, which, okay, that's probably what they were going for, but with the insanely creative gameplay concept and character design of ARMS, I just think the logo needs more personality. Like this. Okay, that doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to, but you see what I mean? Just having like this little spring-shaped thing between the letters does a way better job of showcasing the personality of ARMS. The Gravity Rush logos are good on their own, but I don't think they really work together. They both look like they could be the logo for a comic book, which is perfect since that's a look Gravity Rush tries to go for, but they're just different enough from each other that they do not work well at all. The first game has this wavy look with wider letters, and the second game has a single curve and thinner, taller letters. They just don't fit with each other in my opinion. I do like both of them separately, but I just wish Gravity Rush 2's logo was more similar to the first game's. And then there's Portal 2's logo. I don't know, it works, it kind of feels like a continuation of the first game's logo, but it just feels like it's missing something. I feel like maybe they could have put an orange portal in place of the O like in the first Portal's logo, and then maybe taken out the stick figure on the right and made the 2 blue. Or maybe just put the other half of the stick figure guy on the other side. I don't know. I just feel like the second Portal game should have referenced the actual second Portal in its logo.
Alright, you know what? I am all logoed out. It's time to drop the idea of logos for now. But hey, maybe someday we could pick it back up and take a look at more logos. Logos are incredibly important. They can sell the mood of a game just by showing you the name of it. And that's why logos need personality. If every logo looked exactly the same, the games could lose a lot of what makes them unique. Because chances are, when someone says the name of a game, one of the first things you think of is the logo. And if that logo has no personality, then the personality of the game itself can be lost too. So now that I've taken a look at too many logos, I think I'm ready to update my terrible pancake restaurant logo. Maybe if I just incorporate elements from every single logo I took a look at today, I'll get something that makes me want to vomit.